If you've ever thought, why do I let little things get to me? If you've ever replayed an insult in your head for hours, if you've ever lost sleep over someone else's careless words, then you already know what's at stake. But here's the promise. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with a system, a Stoic system, that lets you meet those same moments with clarity instead of chaos. You'll learn to catch the trigger before it explodes. You'll learn to hold your ground when someone tries to pull you into their storm. You'll learn to disarm anger before it robs you of your day. So if you want to stop overreacting, stop being triggered by petty people, stop letting anger hijack your peace, you came to the right place. Listen carefully to this quote. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. Viktor Frankl. That space he mentioned, it's the difference between a life ruled by reaction and a life ruled by wisdom. Most people never even see it. They live in automatic mode, running on reflex instead of reason. A stranger cuts them off in traffic, they explode. A co-worker makes a snide remark, they stew on it for hours. A partner forgets something small, they turn it into a battle. And before they know it, the whole day has been hijacked by one tiny spark. But if you're watching this video, you're not most people. You're here because you want to see that space. You want to expand it. And most importantly, you want to own it. And in this video, you're going to learn exactly how to do that. We're not here to give you more useless, motivational fluff. Not empty good vibes. This is 29 minutes of grounded, time-tested Stoic training, the same discipline that guided emperors, freed slaves, and battle-tested philosophers. So if you want to stop overreacting, stop being triggered by petty people, stop letting anger hijack your day, and if you're ready for realistic steps, you can start right now. Steps that can rewire your brain to become unshakable, then you came to the right place. While you're watching, use the comments as your Stoic journal. Write down your takeaways, your questions, even your struggles. Let this video become a record of your training. And stick with me until the end, because that's where we'll issue a challenge that turns this video from information into transformation. A challenge that will make you part of a community of modern Stoic warriors. Ready? Let's dive in. Frankl himself endured the unendurable, imprisoned in Nazi camps, stripped of freedom, dignity, even family. Yet he discovered that in the midst of unthinkable cruelty, the last human freedom remained, the power to choose one's response. He could not control the guards. He could not control the starvation, but he could control whether his spirit broke. That's not philosophy written in a quiet library. That's philosophy forged in fire. And it's the same truth the ancient Stoics lived by. This isn't self-help fluff. It's not about good vibes only or pretending nothing gets to you. This is about training your mind like a warrior trains the body. Because life will test you. People will provoke you, and anger will come knocking. The question is, will you react like everyone else? Or will you stand unshaken? We live in the age of outrage. Scroll through your feed, and someone is offended. Turn on the news, and someone is melting down. Step into traffic, and someone is ready to explode. It's not just background noise. It's the air we breathe. Everywhere you look, people are living on a hair trigger, and that matters. Because when the world is addicted to drama, staying calm isn't just rare, it's revolutionary. Think about how anger hijacks your life in small ways. You send a message and see read, but no reply. Hours pass. Suddenly you're spiraling. Did I say something wrong? Are they ignoring me? You're at work and a co-worker talks over you in a meeting. The flash of heat hits your chest. Your mind races. They don't respect me. They're undermining me. A driver cuts you off in traffic. Your pulse spikes. For the next 10 minutes, you replay the scene in your head, inventing comebacks you'll never say. Even at home, a partner makes a small remark. You always forget. And suddenly you're defending your entire worth as a person. One sentence, one gesture, one glance, that's all it takes. The damage is subtle but constant. Lost time. Arguments that replay in your head steal hours you'll never get back. Lost clarity. While you obsess over what they said, your focus on work, creativity, or rest evaporates. Lost peace. The insult lives rent-free in your chest long after the other person has forgotten it. How many days have you lost to ghosts of conversations that happened once but lived forever in your mind? The Stoics would say, those weren't stolen by your enemies, you handed them over. Here's the cruel trick. Anger feels powerful, your heart pounds, your voice rises, you feel alive, righteous, ready to strike back. But the Stoics called this false fire, because after the adrenaline burns off, what are you left with? Regret, shame, a relationship strained, a decision you can't take back. As Seneca said, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. In other words, the insult stings for a moment. The angry reaction can scar for years. If your peace can be stolen by a stranger's horn, a co-worker's tone, or a partner's careless word, who's really in control of your life? Not you. And that's the problem. When you let anger rule you, you're no longer the driver. You're not even a passenger. You are locked in the trunk of your own mind. You're a puppet with someone else pulling the strings. The Stoics saw this clearly. Triggers are traps, and the moment you react without thought, you've already lost. That's why they trained every day to notice the bait, refuse the pull, and keep their calm. Because calm is not weakness, it's the ultimate flex. And if you think this sounds impossible, remember, the people who lived this philosophy weren't sheltered. They were tested harder than most of us can imagine. Take Epictetus, born into slavery. His master was violent, cruel. One day, in a fit of rage, he twisted Epictetus's leg until it snapped. The injury crippled him for life. Now pause. Imagine the pain. Imagine the anger you would feel, the hatred boiling up, the thirst for revenge. But Epictetus didn't curse his master. He didn't vow vengeance. He simply said, "Did I not tell you that you would break it?" That was it. No drama, no screaming. Just calm acceptance of what he couldn't control. And years later, freed from slavery, he became one of the greatest Stoic teachers in history. His lessons spread so far that even emperors studied his words. He proved that even when life takes everything, your reaction is still yours. Now picture Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, Emperor of Rome, a man who could have ordered any critic silenced with a snap of his fingers. And yet, he was constantly insulted, constantly undermined, constantly betrayed by people in his own Senate. What did he do? In his private journal, never meant to be read by anyone else, he wrote to himself, "When someone does you wrong, you must understand they are acting according to their own nature." He reminded himself that other people's cruelty came from their ignorance, their weakness, their own battles, not from anything he had done. Instead of lashing out, he chose understanding. Instead of revenge, he chose reason. Think about that. The man with ultimate power chose patience over punishment. That is Stoic strength. And then there's Seneca, the statesman. He advised emperors. He walked the razor's edge of politics in a time when one misstep could mean death. Seneca warned that anger was nothing less than temporary madness. He wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." He told his readers to catch the spark before it became a wildfire. He argued that no one ever thought clearly while angry, and that by waiting even briefly, the fire would shrink into something manageable. This wasn't theory for him. His life was filled with betrayals, false accusations, constant threats. He knew that if he reacted impulsively, he would lose everything. Delay was survival. And finally, Cato the Younger. He was Rome's incorruptible senator, a man so committed to principle that he would rather perish than compromise. When mocked in public, he didn't respond with violence or even harsh words. He endured the insults with silence. He once said, "I would rather people not know I can endure insults than for me to be incapable of enduring them." Think about the weight of that. He valued inner strength over outer appearances. Because Cato understood something most people today still don't. The moment you react to an insult, you give the insulter power. But if you remain calm, you remain free. Slave, emperor, statesman, senator. Completely different stations in life, completely different pressures. But all four face the same choice. Let anger control them or master themselves. And all four chose mastery. That's why their words still echo today. Because human nature hasn't changed. We're still insulted, still betrayed, still provoked. But if they could remain unshaken in the face of threats greater than ours, we can remain unshaken in the face of traffic jams, rude co-workers, online trolls, and relationship drama. If a crippled slave, a philosopher-statesman, and the ruler of the Roman Empire could all hold their center, what excuse do we have not to? And this brings us to the Stoic method itself. Because the question isn't, how did they do it? The question is, how can we? Their method wasn't complicated. It was simple, brutal in its honesty, but simple in its steps. Pause, name, reframe. This is the Stoic three-step defense against every insult, betrayal, or trigger life throws at you. The first step is the pause. Seneca called it the greatest remedy for anger. Delay. Think about the last time you snapped in the heat of the moment. Maybe someone criticized you in front of others, and the words flew out of your mouth before you could stop them. Maybe you hit send on a text you regretted 10 seconds later. Now imagine if you had bought yourself just 5 seconds of silence. One breath. That pause is the wedge that cracks open the chain between stimulus and response. It turns automatic reaction into conscious choice. Picture this: you're driving and someone cuts you off. The reflex is to slam the horn, shout, maybe even chase them. But if you can pause, if you can breathe once, just once, the whole story changes. You remind yourself, I don't know them, they don't know me. I don't need to carry this stranger's chaos into the rest of my day. The pause doesn't make you weak, it makes you untouchable, because you've already refused the bait. The second step is to name it. Most of us are ruled by emotions we never take the time to identify. We just feel a storm and we lash out. But when you name it, you tame it. Say it out loud if you have to. I feel dismissed. I feel overlooked. I feel rejected. The moment you put words to the feeling, you create distance. You're no longer drowning in it. You're observing it. Marcus Aurelius put it like this: if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this, you have the power to revoke at any moment. Notice what he said. It's not the insult that hurts you. It's your interpretation of the insult, your estimate of its weight. When you name the feeling, you pull it into the light. It's no longer some invisible puppeteer pulling your strings. It's just embarrassment, just irritation, just ego. And once it's named, it's smaller. The third step is the heart of Stoic practice: reframe. This is where you turn the situation on its head. You take the story your mind is telling and you ask, does this serve me? Marcus again, choose not to be harmed, and you won't be. It sounds impossible, but the meaning is clear. Harm is not in the insult. Harm is in your agreement with it. So when you reframe, you ask, is this really about me? Or is this their stress spilling over? Can this insult be feedback in disguise? If it isn't true, why am I giving it my peace? Imagine you're ghosted after 3 dates. The old story is, I wasn't good enough. The Stoic reframe is, they revealed their character early. They saved me time. Imagine a co-worker mocks your idea. The old story, I must be stupid. The Stoic reframe, their mockery is a reflection of their insecurity. The value of my idea isn't determined by their tone. Imagine a family member calls out your biggest failure at a holiday dinner. The old story, they've humiliated me. The Stoic reframe, their tactlessness reflects on them, not me. I can choose to respond with dignity. Reframing doesn't erase the sting, it redirects the energy. It's mental jujitsu. Their attack becomes your training. Let's pull the steps together with one scene. You're in a meeting. You make a point, and someone cuts you off with sarcasm. Step 1, pause. You breathe, keeping your mouth shut. That breath stops you from lashing out. Step 2, name it. You tell yourself, I feel dismissed. That act of naming shrinks the chaos. Step 3, reframe. You ask, is this about me or their ego? You choose to let your work speak louder than your anger. The meeting moves on. You remain composed, and later, it's your composure that people remember, not their sarcasm. Why does this work? Modern neuroscience backs it up. When you pause and name the feeling, you shift activity from the amygdala, the fight or flight center, to the prefrontal cortex, the rational brain. The Stoics didn't have brain scans, but they had observation. They saw that people who mastered this process lived freer, calmer, and more respected lives. Seneca called anger temporary madness. And what's the cure for madness? You don't feed it. You wait. You study it. You reframe it. Now, don't expect perfection. You'll slip. You'll snap sometimes. You'll replay arguments in your head. But every time you practice, every pause, every naming, every reframing, you widen that space Frankl described. The pause becomes easier. The naming becomes automatic. The reframing becomes second nature. Think of it like lifting weights for the soul. Each rep builds resilience. Each rep carves you closer to mastery. That's why Marcus wrote page after page of reminders to himself. Why Epictetus drilled his students daily. Why Seneca warned again and again about delay. They weren't immune to anger. They trained against it. And so can you. So, how does all of this look in our world? A world of buzzing phones, endless feeds, and constant distraction. The truth is, you don't need to be in the Roman Senate to face manipulation. You don't need to be a slave in ancient Greece to feel provoked. Our triggers are smaller, but they work the same way. Take the workplace. A co-worker leans in with a sly comment. Must be nice to leave early again. The old you feels the heat rise. You want to snap back, defend yourself, prove your worth. But the Stoic trained you pauses. You name the emotion. I feel judged. You reframe, their bitterness is not my burden. Instead of feeding the drama, you let silence carry more power than words. Or picture this. You're in a relationship. An argument is simmering. Your partner fires off a sharp line meant to draw blood. The bait is right there. The reflex is to hurl back something worse. But you remember the training. You pause. You name. I feel disrespected. You reframe. If I match anger with anger, we both lose. If I stay calm, I create space for us to reset. That's not weakness. That's leadership in the most important battlefield, the one at home. And then there's the digital battlefield, online comments. You post something and the trolls arrive. This is stupid. You're an idiot. Nobody cares. Most people waste hours typing out comebacks, proving the troll right by handing over their attention. The Stoic doesn't play that game. They pause, they name the irritation, and they reframe. This comment reveals their state, not mine. Their words only have power if I supply the fuel. So you move on. You keep your peace. And ironically, that silence burns them more than any reply. This is why calm is rare today. Calm is intimidating. Calm is control, and people feel it when you have it. Think about the last time you saw someone remain composed while everyone else was heated. Didn't you admire it? Didn't you wonder, how are they not reacting? That's the impact Stoic training creates, because 99% of the world reacts. They take the bait. They give away their peace for free, but the 1% who don't, they rule the room. They're the ones people trust in crisis, the ones others turn to when the fire breaks out. Because calm is gravity. It pulls everything else into its orbit. This isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about mastering it so completely that no one else can use it against you. That's what Epictetus, Marcus, Seneca, and Cato trained for. That's what Frankl discovered in the darkest of places. And it's exactly what you can build today, in meetings, in arguments, in traffic, in your own home. When you stop being baited, you stop being controlled. And when you stop being controlled, you start living free. Up until now, we've explored the philosophy, the space between stimulus and response, the ancient examples, the framework of pause, name, reframe. But philosophy without practice is just theory. The Stoics weren't interested in sounding wise, they were interested in training. So let's get practical. Here are 7 tools you can start using today to strengthen your calm and disarm your triggers. Tool 1. The Morning Journal. Every morning before you step into the noise of the world, take 5 minutes and ask yourself, what might trigger me today? How will I respond? If you've got a tough meeting coming up, visualize how you'll handle interruptions. If you know you'll face traffic, decide now that you'll use it as a breathing exercise instead of a reason to rage. By rehearsing the day in advance, you're preparing your defenses before the battle even begins. Tool 2. The 10-second rule. When you feel provoked, don't speak, don't type, don't act. Breathe and count to 10 in silence. Those 10 seconds are enough to pull your brain out of the amygdala, the panic center, and back into the prefrontal cortex, the rational center. The Stoics didn't call it neuroscience, but they knew the principle: delay shrinks anger. 10 seconds can save you 10 hours of regret. Tool 3. Reframe the insult. When someone disrespects you, write it down. Then ask 3 questions. Is any of this true? If yes, can I improve? If it's false, why am I carrying it? Will this still matter in a year? 9 times out of 10, you'll realize the insult says more about them than you. And the 10th time, it might contain a truth that can help you grow. Either way, you win. Tool 4. the Stoic mirror. When you feel the heat rising, ask yourself, what would the version of me I most admire do here? Not the reflexive version, not the angry version, the highest version. And then act like that person, even if your emotions haven't caught up yet. This turns every confrontation into an audition for the person you want to become. Tool 5, the nightly reset. Before bed, look back at your day and ask, where did I hold the line? Where did I get pulled in? What can I do better tomorrow? Marcus Aurelius did this in his journal, not to shame himself, but to train, to see progress day by day. Because emotional mastery isn't built in one breakthrough moment, it's built in the quiet repetition of reflection. Tool 6, Stoic breath. When emotions hit hard, the body is the battlefield. Your heart races, your breath shortens, your muscles tense. So, flip the script. Practice box breathing. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Repeat this cycle 3 or 4 times. Within a minute, your nervous system begins to calm. You're telling your body, we're safe. We don't need to fight. The Stoics knew this intuitively. When you control the body, you help control the mind. Tool 7, Stone in the River Visualization. Close your eyes and picture yourself as a stone in the middle of a rushing river. The water is chaos, insults, distractions, provocations. It flows around you, loud and wild. But you don't move. You are the anchor. The current doesn't change who you are. Do this visualization once a day, and when life's chaos comes for you, you'll already know how to stand unmoved. 7 tools, 7 ways to train your calm. And here's the key. Don't try to master all 7 at once. Pick one. Practice it daily for a week. Then add another. Because the point isn't perfection. The point is progress. Every rep makes the space between stimulus and response just a little wider. That's the path to becoming unshakable. Now, here is the most powerful part of the entire video. This is the part that changes this from a bunch of information into life-changing knowledge. And it's also what transforms mere knowledge into lasting wisdom. You see, philosophy only matters if you live it. Knowledge without practice is just decoration. So here's what we're going to do. We're building a community of Stoic warriors, people just like you. Warriors willing to go to battle for their peace and fight to win against anger, triggers, and impulse. And the way we do that is through a challenge. For the next 24 hours, join our Commit to Calm challenge. Every time someone pushes your buttons, every time you feel the fire of anger rise, you pause, you name it, you reframe it. And to make this real, we've created a Commit to Calm worksheet that you can download from the link in the description. Use it to track your progress, reflect on your triggers, and hold yourself accountable. Fill it out, put it into practice, and if you want, submit it back to us to be featured as a Stoic case study. Your story could be the example that inspires thousands of others to rise above their impulses. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is how you realize it. This is how you take back the keys. Not tomorrow, not someday, today, right now. Because calm is a choice, and the moment you choose it, you've already won.